So, with Google following suit in regards to the discontinuation of cookies for advertising targeting, it becomes apparent to understand what the effects are on this change. What impact will it have on our revenue? What do we have to prepare for, and what are possible ways to mitigate it? Now, the impact it really has can be different by quite a bit from publisher to publisher. So overall, as already was published from multiple sources, we can say that the impact is around 40%, at least like on the US market. But then there are differentiating factors, and of course the entire system is still evolving and the percentages are changing. So is it really going to be 40% and beyond? Very unlikely. It is most likely going to be less. So in order for us to understand what is really like the situation right now for us specifically, ideally we have access to data that can show us and give us an understanding where does it sit at the moment, what would we have to expect in the worst case. And then over time, and as things develop, we can see how is it improving and how is the percentage difference between right now the cookie environment and then the non-cookie environment narrowing down. In order to analyze the data, Google is providing the cookie deprecation labels, and these are basically the ones that are relevant on around 1% of the traffic. And we can use them to get an idea as to what is the impact for us. So when we look at it, we can see, let me quickly explain these labels here. So we have the undefined group. The undefined group is pretty much anything where no changes were made. It's a normal cookie environment. When we have 4 different groups, like label only 1 to 5, be 2 different task groups. But then the important part is the stuff we have below the treatment group and the control group _2, because these are basically now giving us information as to what is the situation around actually no cookies being available. The control group 2 is no cookies available and no alternative is present as well. While the treatment groups are, yes, no cookies are available, but we topics API privacy sandbox is enabled. I'm going to quickly add an additional food to the rescue pod, because in fact, we only really care about current traffic in this case, so Chrome, desktop, Chrome, mobile. And given that on iOS, Chrome is just a skin, we want to exclude iOS here. This alter now allows us to get a better understanding as to what is going on by country or any other kind of prank I want to look for. I'm going to apply another filter here just to exclude the stuff that is not relevant for what we want to see right now. So we're going to only include undefined control 2 and then the treatment groups. What we can see within this report is that we have the undefined group, which is the normal situation. We have basically coded situation. Majority of the traffic, 99% of web traffic is unchanged. Cookies are available, and we have control_tool, which is no cookies available for advertising. And also, the privacy sandbox is not enabled when we have treatment 1, 2, and 3 under both. Again, no cookies available. However, in this case, privacy sandbox is enabled, and we can see the overall trend and how it affects our APM and the import notice. We are using APM as a measurement here because we are also considering unfilled inventory for more precise classification, as no cookies alter results in more unfilled, of course. So we can see that we are basically currently in situations like around 2.3 CPM. But then, if cookies are not available, we are dropping to 1.86. Now, however, if the privacy sandbox, topics API, and so on, it's enabled, this number climbs up to somewhere between like 1.9 to 2.0. So that is a small increase in visible. However, there is still a pretty big drop between the undefined and the treatment. Now, the ratio between undefined meaning like normal current situation versus maybe privacy sandbox is enabled, but cookies are not, is relatively small in this case, but it has to do. But we are looking at some of the demo data, and it includes auto in basically a wide mix of different types of publishers. So probably a big portion of this also comes from build-up pressure from our complaints, which are automatically due to how we're glad when the show was delivered where it has the least competition. However, if we look at the impact on the session revenue, we can see that we started 55 minutes, a deep drop to 37 and be different. Treatment groups are sitting somewhere between 35, 40, and 41. This gives us a rough idea as to what we would need to expect. If the cookie deprecation would happen to a full extent tomorrow, then we could assume performance would be sitting somewhere between the different treatment groups.